You are now listening to the Friends of Rugby podcast. Relax your anus. Balls. Thick thighs. Camille Shat. Where's his neck? Eddie Jones. You're fucked, mate. We're nice now.
Hello, friends. You're listening to the Friends of Rugby podcast. I'm with Frank. He watched Lord of the Rings on the weekend. Take two. We had to restart because of Frank's dog, Rocky. He has no control over.
No, it's a wild dog.
He just wants to be part of the podcast.
I saved him and he saved me.
Frank, you watched Lord of the Rings, the extended edition yesterday?
Uncircumcised.
Uncircumcised
I had
Lord
to
of
use
the
that
Rings.
joke again.
That's so gross. I didn't hear it the first time.
He didn't?
No. I totally brushed over, went over my head.
Yeah, no, I did. Unedited. It was brilliant. Yeah.
That's good.
Took the wind out of my sails because my fucking dog ruined the first take, but it was very nice. Yeah. But
I experienced the most public breakup divorce on Facebook over the weekend. It was fucking awesome.
as entertaining as the Lord of the Rings extended editions.
I was
yeah.
glued. I was like, who does this over Facebook?
I know, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I woke up and then they just like trash each other, threaten each other with videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And everyone's like messaging on their thing. Oh, I hope you're okay. And I'm just like, keep it going.
Yeah.
Keep it rolling.
This is juicy.
Yeah, this is juicy.
It does tell me you were born in the late 80s if you have an argument on a Facebook wall, because like, who does that anymore?
It also proves you're born in the 80s if you like pay attention to Facebook.
Yeah, even if you open it, like, you're our generation basically, aren't
Such
you?
a boomer thing, Facebook.
Yeah. I mean, we're not boomers, are we? What are we?
We're millennials.
We're millennials.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, I wouldn't want to be Steve Borthwick right now.
because of his very public shaming.
Yeah, he's
on Facebook.
He's getting shamed.
Yeah, we're going straight in, are we?
He's getting dragged.
No. I was enjoying our little community rugby stories, but I am excited to talk about this. So let's.
So you got a community rugby story?
No, not on the top of my head, but I was enjoying the fact the last 2 weeks we have shared a story of our rugby journeys. But fuck
Of your
that.
rugby. No one fucking cares.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Let's talk about rugby that people care about.
I was listening to another podcast too, another rugby podcast, and in the beginning of their podcast, they go on to like stories about their lives.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, holy fuck, like this kind of boring. I was like, ooh, maybe we should stop doing.
I honestly, I think I said this.
Like, maybe no one cares about this.
No, many months ago when we started doing this, I think I told you I hate podcasts where they don't get into it immediately and they'll start just talking to each other about their lives like people care. It's so narcissistic. Let's talk about Steve Borthwick.
Also, when they start doing predictions, I usually turn it off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do.
We do that a lot.
I know.
Fuck.
So I was just like, fuck it.
If
That's not what the
Levi, if
need
you're
is.
listening, do you like our predictions?
Yes.
Send us an email, please. I need to know.
Fan.
Yeah.
If you like our predictions, let us know.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna trash it.
I like him. I like my predictions.
I like doing it too, but maybe we're not realizing it's mostly for us.
I didn't realize that. I thought that's something people might want to hear. Never mind.
But we got some rugby to talk about.
We do. Let's get back to Steve Borthwick. Is he under pressure?
Let's talk about him later.
Okay.
Sorry, I blew my load too soon. Sorry.
Okay. What would you like to talk about?
Sorry, I just got pre-cum all over this podcast.
Stop.
Let's talk about. Let's mention Graham Roundtree.
Graham.
Graham.
Graham. You have to say Graham. You can't say Graham.
Graham?
Graham.
In the bean.
Graham Roundtree. Yeah.
Were you surprised? Were you shocked?
I was very surprised, actually.
Well, you are exactly like everyone else.
So I should stop talking about it because I'm not contributing to the discussion. Let me just say, and this has probably been said before, he has had, when he won the URC 2 years ago, right? No, 3 years ago. He had a pretty ropey start to the season. And then last year, he had arguably an even ropier start to the season. And that was still a respectable run. I don't know what he's doing wrong. So Munster have another ropey start to the season with more injuries than they had last year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got sacked. So
the greatest thing around his sacking was just the like what's the word I'm looking for? Like how many people are trying to like figure out what happened.
Yeah.
And then putting their 2 cents in.
Yeah.
And it's great. I've heard everything.
Yeah.
I even heard at one point that he had a Munster tattoo. Like everyone's just saying all sorts of shit. Right?
Yeah.
I was like, look at these fucking needs. Like he doesn't deserve, like I guess we don't deserve to know. He doesn't need to come out and say why he got sacked.
I think.
Do you think so?
Do I think he needs to come?
Fans deserve an explanation of what went down?
No, I don't, because he has enough cash in the bank at Munster. Like, it's a professional relationship between him and Munster Rugby, right? And they both obviously respect each other. They're probably like, we really appreciate what you've done. We're for whatever reason, we're going in another direction. Or he's saying, I've got an opportunity elsewhere. Can we do this respectfully because I've given you my good time? So no, we don't deserve an explanation. I respect their privacy.
I heard that too.
But it's fun to speculate.
It is fun to speculate.
Yeah.
I'm going to speculate too.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. But I don't expect an explanation. Even if I was, what I'm saying to Munster fans is, I wouldn't expect an explanation. He's done good things for you.
The only thing I was thinking about was that, the fans, they put the money in the team.
Yeah.
The team exists because of the fans.
Right.
If no one watched, if no one put money towards the team,
right?
The fans, the team exists because of the fans. So when the team does things like this, I think the fans that pour the money into the team, that invest in the team, week in and week out, I think they deserve something.
Oh, really?
That's how I came about it. They don't have to have his personal story or anything. But the club should say what happened because they want to know, right? What happened?
If I never found out, if I was a Munster fan and I never found out, it's not going to stop me going to games.
No, it's not.
I would be grateful that this guy has given us time and taken us to a URC playoffs and a championship.
It's just how a publicly traded company has to expose certain things to their board members.
Yeah.
And their shareholders.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. The fans are the shareholders. The fans deserve to know why you're making these decisions. They're the ones that invest in the team. They're the ones that are the reason why the team exists. So they don't deserve smoke and mirrors, at least. Something down the line. And it's the sole purpose for this is so if the fans, to give the fans the options to get really mad or say, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I think you're projecting because you want some juicy drama.
I do want some juicy drama, and I heard a lot over the years.
Yeah.
One thing that has come up over the years, if I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole, because I'm a piece of shit. But one thing that's come up over the years about Graham Roundtree, is that's been repeated was that his trainings are pretty hardcore.
Good.
They're pretty rigorous. They're pretty hardcore. They're pretty rough.
Yeah.
He almost to the point where it's overtraining.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true, but I've heard this statement over the years of him coaching at Munster.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. I've heard that.
What has Munster had a big problem with over the last 3 years?
Injuries.
So I was like, is there a correlation here?
I don't know a rugby team that doesn't suffer with injuries. Munster probably had a higher rate, but the thing is, the guys Munster lost to injury was significant, right? I look at Cardiff and I look at losing 2 hookers in the first week. That's huge, but no one's talking about Cardiff like they're talking about Munster. Nobody cares in the same way, right? So when Munster get injuries, everyone hears about it a lot more. I don't think they're unique in that they've got injuries. I think we hear about it because we expect Munster to be a good team, and when they're not a good team, it's easy to blame injuries, and it's true. That is a reason, right? Mm-hmm. They're just a more culturally significant team in the rugby landscape. So when they get injuries, it's like, well, that sucks for them because they could win this, right? And the thing is, they did win it when they had some bumps in the road. And last year, when they got to semi-finals, didn't they?
Yeah.
I kind of didn't expect them to get that far, considering the ropey season they'd had. But they're still a good team,
Yeah. On paper, any team, any sports team in any league, winning a championship in the next year going to the semifinals, that's 2 successful seasons.
It is 2 successful seasons, yeah.
So, I could see how fans have been shocked by, I just don't understand, no, we need to go into, just what was going on, what? Yeah. It's a mystery.
It is. I think that's what's exciting to talk about it because, it is weird. It is weird. It's just, it was very left field. So, for example, Di Flanagan, the head coach of the Dragons, just left with immediate effect, a couple of days ago, right? And that's fine. They've won 1 game. They've looked pretty shite. Fire. I like the guy, but that it makes perfect sense. Why would you fire a reasonably successful coach? And they have had some results go against them this season for reasons which look like they're out of his control, right? Now the fun speculation begins. Who's coming in? Because it could be as simple as he's been offered a job elsewhere because he's successful, and Munster are actually, we've got some guys in the wings. And the interesting thing I read was Ronan O'Gara was asked, hey, do you want the Munster job? And he was like, no. And then he said, but the next guy's already in the building. I'm paraphrasing slightly, but that's kind of what he said, indicating that the guy that is next in line They've already like groomed him, or they know who it's going to be. Because me and you were like, oh, Felix Jones, here he comes. He's going to escape from his basement in England rugby.
His cell. It's a jail cell.
Yeah, he's going to run out with like a ball gag in his mouth, butt naked, like running through the forest. And then Munster are going to pick him up in a van. Don't worry, you're safe now. Put him in a thermal blanket and drive him to Cork.
Yeah. No, Ronan O'Gara wants one job.
Yeah, Ireland.
Yeah, he wants Ireland.
Yeah.
If he's not getting that job, he's staying at La Rochelle.
Yeah. Yeah, he
loves it there.
I think he's as French as he is Irish now. If you listen, he loves it there. His kids are having a great time.
Mm-hmm.
He speaks French very well. Yeah, he's culturally French now, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's looking at one job.
Yeah, totally.
It's the job or nothing.
It's France Island head coach, one of those or nothing. Yeah, totally. Anyway, I'm not saying it was going to be Ronan O'Gara. What I'm saying is, Munster already have their guy, I think.
So yeah, you're talking about Mike Prendergast?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. So this is the guy that's been mentioned a bunch of times in the media.
Yeah.
I just don't understand like how, because the IRFU, the Irish Rugby Football Rugby Union, whatever.
Yeah.
They do the hiring and firing of all the coaches.
Right.
So I wonder what the conversation was going on there. It's like, oh, let's get him to do this instead.
Right. But why?
Well, why?
Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe it was money, contract negotiations. Like, maybe they want to keep Irish guys in Ireland. Maybe he was getting offered stuff elsewhere, and it's like, no, we want to keep our Irish talent in Ireland, which they're good at. So another thing is,
are they going to get rid of a coach are they going to get rid of a coach with no plan? With no idea?
It's weird because you look at Leinster and bringing in Jack Nienaber. Obviously, he's an incredible international coach, and they've had Stuart Lancaster on their books, and Leo Cullen is very successful. You've had in the last few years several very high caliber coaches in Leinster, and maybe they're thinking Munster's not getting enough love. We need to kind of bring in someone or start giving them some really high caliber coaches.
I'm worried about this. Like what you just mentioned, I think that's worrying for Irish rugby because they've turned Irish rugby, like the union has turned Irish rugby into kind of like a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
Where everything kind of trickles down.
Yeah.
Like Leinster evidently, like get the best.
Yeah.
And then it kind of trickles down from there.
Yeah.
With Connacht. Like, have you ever seen that movie, I forget the name. It's like where everyone's like they're like in a jail, and then this like table comes down with food.
Oh, like that Spanish film where there's a big hole and they drop all the food down. I forget what it's
called though.
Yeah, it was weird.
And then the first guy gets all the food he wants, and then the table
drops down.
Yeah, and then at the bottom, it's like that's iconic. They get the bottom table.
It is, but you got to remember when professionalism started there. That was the plan, right? They were like, Connacht, no offense, you are the development side.
Yeah, but times have changed.
Times have changed.
Yeah.
Times have changed, and they deserve equal footing. But it might be in the back rooms of the IRFU, there's like a little board that it still says Connacht development side. I don't know. I'm actually probably someone in Ireland does know. Like, I don't think it's that secretive. But anyway, like, there is some sort of conversation going on now. Is it a chicken and egg situation with Leinster? Were they good, therefore they get good stuff, or they get good stuff, therefore they're good? I don't think it's chicken and egg, actually, because they've always had the best stuff. They've got 2 million people in that catchment area. They've got all the private schools. They've got a lot of kind of deals going on. And Connacht historically was not even... I went to Galway 2017, I think, and they'd won the URC. They won the Pro 14 or Pro 12 or whatever it was at the time recently. And it was still a minor sport there, right? Like, it wasn't a big deal. Now it's much, much bigger. But the difference is, and this is the critical difference, Munster used to be the best team in Ireland, right? Mm-hmm. And the fans there know that, and the fans remember that. And they won the URC only a couple of years ago. This Munster-Leinster rivalry isn't as one-sided as it seems, right? It used to be that Munster were the big dogs. So I think they would be pissed off because they're like, we can be good if we're given the right resources.
I feel like the Irish Union needs to do something big for Munster here.
I think that's what I'm saying as well.
They need to do a Leinster thing.
Yeah, they need to get a gesture, right? But don't forget, they had Snyman and Damien De Allende signed, and they just weren't effective players for them through injury for whatever reason. Snyman goes to...
Ollie Jaeger from Super Rugby.
They hasn't made the impact we were hoping.
Klein.
Yeah. CJ Stander.
Malachi Fikitoa.
Who was good. Yeah.
Who now plays for Benetton, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And
so it's not like they haven't had big caliber signings over the years. They just haven't they just maybe had bad luck with them, or they haven't been as effective as they wanted, right? But let's not forget, Munster won this 2 years ago. Leinster didn't. Leinster haven't won it. Leinster haven't won fucking anything in a while. They're just dominant throughout the season, right? And they've got a really big squad they can rotate. But it does segue nicely into Munster. While all this international was going on, Munster played the All Blacks 15. Tell me about it.
I didn't watch the game.
No, but you know more about it than me. I don't watch it, obviously. I just want you to... I'm segueing. I'm teeing you up.
You should have asked me first before we...
But you told me before we were recording.
Yeah, because I read about the game.
That's all I want.
Because I couldn't watch it anymore.
I don't expect... That's fine. It
wasn't on TV. I couldn't get the game.
No, me too.
Yeah.
I didn't try.
All my legal pathways, I couldn't get to the game.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you know who won. Tell me the details. Tell me how this fits in.
All I know is the All Blacks 15 won.
Right. But
what I
close.
do know is that it was close until the last 10 minutes.
Right.
Which says a lot about Munster's squad.
Right.
Does say a lot about New Zealand rugby too at the same time.
Yeah. You'd expect them to win that, would you?
I was expecting them because I knew Munster were going to put out like their kids.
Yeah, of course they. Yeah, it's I think it was a mutual agreement. It's a development game.
The All Blacks 15 is like all those guys could swap in to the All Blacks.
Yeah, I expect so.
So for Munster to do so well with their kids, that shows a lot of promise.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I don't know if it's concerning for New Zealand rugby at all. I wouldn't put too much weight into it.
No, I'm not overthinking. It just sounds like a good development game between a club.
There's something with Munster playing like All Blacks and Maori All Blacks and All Blacks 15. Like they have a history of playing. New Zealand.
Played the Crusaders over the summer, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they beat them. They beat the Crusaders. Yeah. But the point I was trying to make is like they obviously have a good academy. Like they're not short of homegrown talent, which everyone knows.
And if you talk to people that really know Munster, they're pretty hopeful for the future of who's coming up through the ranks in their academy system and who they got like in the background ready to be unleashed.
Yeah.
But anyways, Graham Roundtree, I think it's weird.
Yeah.
And Irish rugby has to do something big for Munster. They have to bring something. I don't know if Mike Prendergast is the thing. They need to bring in, I don't know.
I don't think Mike Prendergast has ever been a head coach. When I was Wikipediaing.
Ian Foster?
That's what I wanted you to say. Why did you say Ian Foster? Yes, it's Ian Foster, obviously.
Ian Foster, get the
guy.
Ian Foster.
Yeah, this is like buying the dip in stock, right? This guy's stock is so low. And then Scott Robertson comes in and has a worse win rate than Ian Foster. And everyone's like, the saviour has come. But Ian Foster's behind the scenes going, what the fuck, guys? I took us to a World Cup final. I was winning almost all my fucking games. But his stock is still low. Go get him, Munster. Go find your prince. Yeah. He's right there. I mean, he's got a job, but, go buy him out.
I think he's actually...
He's in Japan, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's the last time I read something about him, he was in Japan.
I think he's coaching in Japan. But, he'd go to Munster.
He would go to Munster.
Yeah, he sat there, eating sushi, going, I don't even like sushi. Take me to Ireland.
Yeah, I want some meat and potatoes. Yeah. Look, he's a meat and potatoes guy.
Of course he is. Look at
that body.
Yeah, someone's just served him a raw bit of tuna, and he's like, what the fuck? Give me some gravy.
Get that rice ball on my face. Another thing of news here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Joe Marler, because he's all over the news here.
Joe Marler. He's always all over the news, isn't he? Can't go 5 minutes without asking for some attention.
Yeah, he got bullied off of Twitter for a couple hours, and then he retired.
He did. Again.
Yeah, because do you want to talk about the Haka, his Haka comment?
Yeah, let's talk about the Haka. We did a little bit last week, so let's.
He might have been a little distasteful in his words.
He said what some people are thinking in a very inarticulate way. And I think he's since apologized and said exactly that, right?
A very English prop sort of way.
Yeah. I mean, I have a weird... Sometimes I watch Joe Marler and I think the things he said to advocate for men's mental health is excellent, right? That's awesome. And he's backed it up, right? He's done a lot of stuff. Yeah. He hasn't just said stuff. So that's good. But then let's not forget he called Samson Lee a gypsy boy. He called an Irish player at Bristol's mother a whore. He grabbed Alun Jones by the balls.
He's got a paper.
I understand shenanigans, right? I understand shenanigans.
He's a shenanigans.
But there's shenanigans and there's racism and abuse. And he apologizes. And it's a bit like Boy Cried Wolf at this stage. It's like, yeah, Joe, you seem like a nice guy, but when you're not being a complete dickhead, he's got this very Jekyll and Hyde sort of personality thing. And it does just seem like attention seeking sometimes. So I'm sure he's a nice guy, if you had a beer with him. But I'm just sick of fucking hearing about him, But
what he said about the haka, I kind of didn't put too much weight into.
Yeah.
Like, it's a rugby guy saying something about a rugby thing.
Yeah.
Like, he's not, when he said, like, we should bin the haka, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's not talking like going to New Zealand and making everyone stop doing hakas.
No. And that's, that's a good point, because the flip side is the people's reaction to it was a bit mental, wasn't it? It's like, he's just a rugby guy.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hey, he's talking about this in a rugby sense.
Yeah.
So, like,
Read
whatever. He's
room.
allowed to say that.
Of course he is.
He's allowed to have that. It's a very valid opinion.
Yeah.
Also, like, the Kiwis, they do, like, fucking overdo the haka a little bit. They're haka at everything. There was an Olympics years ago, and I remember... Oh man, this could have been the Summer Olympics when I was living in New Zealand, where like the swim team, the fucking like every team, every Olympic team, they're just hucking all over the place after they're doing like doing shit and stuff like that. And it was on the news, and then they're like, and it was, I think it was in New Zealand news, like, oh, is this too much?
Yeah,
like the fucking swim team, the divers, like everyone's like doing this like shit, and like, okay, are we like literally overdoing it here?
It feels like to me when you go to a party and someone brings out a guitar and you have to sit there with a smile on your face going, oh, would he shut the fuck up? Would he stop singing? Everyone, why would we have to be captive audience to this guy?
Just sit there for like 45 minutes. Buddy is one.
And I said maybe. Like, oh, fuck's sake. But on a more serious note, it's a big cultural thing. It's cool. I like it. But it does feel like, so if I come to Canada and I'm like, and all the Canadians like, I'll take you to a hockey game. Cool. I'd love to do that. Do you want to try maple syrup on your pancakes? Yes, I'd love to. That sounds awesome. But like, there's a choice there, right? I can choose to engage in the things you want to show me. If someone hackers at me, I just have to stand there and go, thank you. Are you threatening to kill me right now? Like, it's cool. Like, that's your cultural thing. But your cultural thing requires a captive audience, right? And I think that's what we're talking about in rugby. Yeah, it's kind of overdone. It's a cool cultural expression. But if I have to sit there when I've already pumped myself up emotionally, sang my anthem, I'm ready to fucking run through a brick wall, and I have to stand there for 40 seconds while you scream at me, it's like, okay, like, that's cool.
See, my problem isn't the haka at all. I love it. I love watching it. I like it when people that haven't watched rugby, they get to see this for the first time. And it happened last week when they played Japan. I was at a friend's house. We were playing poker. The game was coming on. I was like, okay, I'll put the game on TV. Everyone stopped to watch this thing. They're like, what the fuck are these guys doing? I was like, oh, this is what they do before.
It is different and cool, isn't it?
He's like, oh, that's fucking awesome, right? It's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
My thing with the haka is the lack of challenge to the haka.
That's what I wanted to talk about. But sorry, so I want to steal your thunder. Yeah. The lack of response.
The lack of response. Is just, it's too protected. I don't like that. If it's in this game situation, the situation that they have the haka in. Like let the teams do something. Don't fucking like. Oh, you got to stay behind this line. Like, let them get in their faces. Don't touch them. Don't disrupt the haka. Like, don't grab them by the collar and shit like that. Like, that's just, let them do it. But get in their faces. Do something. Like scream back at them. Do something. Like, challenge it. That would be fucking awesome.
And that's what Kiwis have been saying. To be fair to the New Zealanders, that's what they've been saying for years. It's like, you can respond, right? Like, we're challenging you. Do something. And I think the problem there is, and everyone makes jokes about this, imagine England play New Zealand like they did. Like, and all bets are off. Like, you can do what the fuck you want. Like, just don't touch them and you can do what you want. Awesome. So what are England going to start doing? What is their response going to be? Fucking Morris dancing? Like,
they can get right in their face. Didn't France do that one year?
But except for they couldn't pass that imaginary line.
I thought France got into like right up to them.
I think England did that once and they got fined.
England crossed,
which was ridiculous.
They crossed the halfway line once.
In
the World Cup.
Yeah, and they got fined.
That was Joe Marler, actually.
Of course it was.
Because they did that weird V thing.
Yeah. And then he put his tippy toe over the 10-meter line.
Too far over.
Yeah, something like that.
So they fined him.
That's ridiculous.
But whatever. Like, let the challenge be challenged.
I think the thing is, okay,
and the All Blacks would love it too. They would love it. They'd be screaming in the haka, and the guys in their face.
And you get pumped up.
Because I've seen videos of them, like especially I think in League. League, this happens a lot.
It does. They respond well in League. Yeah.
Fuck League. Like, who is running League?
I think that's the thing. Not as many people.
That's why people like always mention League. Like, League always does the things that rugby should be doing.
I think that's the thing. League knows how to entertain better than rugby union does in its spectacle, right? It knows how to.
And I hate saying that. I hate it.
We don't like complimenting it here, do we?
It's like you got this you got
not a friend of the pod.
Sport that's less rugby, but they're doing all the fucking right rugby things. It pisses me off.
Or they're just doing the normal things you would expect. Rugby union has a terrible problem with PR because it's just full of old posh boys going, "Oh, that's not appropriate," and it's like, well, you're ruining the fucking sport for everyone by not being modern, you know.
Yeah.
But like, a
nice glass of Connacht and quiet music is what we need.
We all must be totally silent for the kick. Like, shut the fuck up.
I fucking hate that.
Yeah, I know. I've changed my tune on that, to be honest. But yeah, with the Haka, like, I want people to respond. But the thing is, it's already a weird thing to be involved in it, because imagine I was born and raised in New Zealand, but I have no Maori connection. I'm just like European descent or whatever, right? To start doing something which feels so culturally alien to me, like if you told me, right, you're going to start screaming and threatening people in a language you don't understand, like it feels awkward, right? I mean, I'm sure a European descent New Zealand doesn't feel that way because they were raised with this. But if I moved there, played rugby, and I was part of a Haka, I would feel awkward about it, right? Like this isn't my thing. Like, so imagine that from the opposite point of view. Imagine I'm an English guy. We don't have that in our cultural arsenal to have a response. Like there's nothing in our culture which is like we have a fucking... It's like that's why the joke is Morris dancing, because what is the cultural equivalent? Probably it's singing, but we've already done that. We've already sung the anthem. Maybe you do the Haka, we do our anthem. In fact, that's what happened. Did you know that's the history of that? Mm-hmm. That's why national anthems are a thing, and it was the Welsh who did it first. So the New Zealanders did the Haka. This was in 1905, and the Welsh were like, "What can we do? Let's sing our anthem at them." That is the first time national anthems happened in sports. You're welcome, the world. You're fucking welcome. But like, so then New Zealand do their anthem, we do our anthem. We do our anthem, and then they do a Haka as well. I think they should have the Haka. No, they can do the Haka. I like the Haka. Just it's there's nothing culturally we can do as a response.
Just get in their faces.
All right.
Look mean, get in their face. That's enough for me.
Fair enough. Yeah fair enough. All right.
And Joe Marler retiring too for the second time.
Yeah, whatever.
From international test rugby.
Yeah, he'll be back. I think he was talking about that more seriously this time though. But they need some new props in England though, don't they?
Yeah,
they really do.
Dan Coles is gonna be there till he's 50.
He totally is. I want Ben Urbano in there a bit more. I like him.
Well, let's talk about some international rugby. Let's talk about Scotland, Fiji.
What?
Yeah, let's do the England New Zealand last.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
We watched the first half of this game.
Yeah.
I don't know if we learned anything from this game.
I think we learned that we knew it already, but Scotland are lethal if you give them space. They're
pretty flashy.
Lethal. They're fancy. Darcy Graham, what a fucking player. Tuipulotu, it's been said before, fucking incredible for his club and country. Yeah, he fucking is.
That's what we learned. He was a good captain. He did good.
He was a good captain. He was a good captain. I mean, he didn't have to. I wonder how much he actually had to do to get them to do that, though, because obviously it was an easy win in the end. Mm-hmm. But yeah, everyone in their back line is very fucking good.
Fucking Darcy Graham 4 tries. Like, holy shit.
So he was class, though.
Everyone was getting
He was
tries.
electric. Yeah, he was electric. And what does it say about Fiji? A lot of the guys are still in France. That's not the best squad they can field. You said it well. They don't have the budget or the resources to play Autumn Internationals.
It's kind of like playing Fiji that's not in a World Cup. It's kind of like playing a Baba squad.
Yeah.
They kind of slap them together.
Yeah.
They're probably together for like a few days.
Yeah.
And then they go into a game.
Yeah.
They don't these smaller nations just don't have the budget to like fully prepare for the challenge that's ahead of them.
Yeah.
Going into these systems where these people have been like basically readying this game for months.
Yeah.
They have teams of people.
Yeah.
They're having like these sporadic trainings like once in a while to get the squads together.
Yeah.
Like they're doing all sorts of stuff. Like Fiji doesn't have the budget for that.
They don't.
So yeah, you're getting this team that's slapped together.
Yeah. And
you can't put too much Scotland looked good, but they're also playing a very disjointed, like they just threw a bunch of like really talented rugby players in the Fiji squad together.
Yeah.
Go play rugby.
Yeah, right now. Against a team which is very good.
Yeah.
Scotland are much better than they used to be.
They also have had the same coach for like fucking like 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Like Gregor Townsend's been the coach for, so there's a big long consistency there.
Yeah.
Like the squads know a lot of the players have played together for a while.
Yeah.
The systems are already in place. Like it's not a good game to gauge where teams are.
It's not.
I wouldn't say Fiji are shit. I'm just saying Fiji are like just under like coached.
Yeah.
Right now because they're just slapped together and then thrown out in the field to go play games.
And let's not forget, about 3 weeks ago, there was a corruption scandal in Fijian rugby, which obviously is going to...
Oh, I didn't hear about this.
It didn't? It was, I mean, well, that kind of says something in itself, right? Like, they don't have enough PR, they don't have enough presence internationally. They've always punched above their weight, but we do kind of forget they exist, right? They won the Pacific Nations Cup. They beat Japan pretty handily not that long ago.
I wouldn't put anything in that. Like,
Why?
look how fucking shit Japan are.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they won the Pacific Nations Cup. Oh, holy shit, who did they beat?
Yeah.
Like, oh, Canada? Like, I don't know, like United States?
Yeah.
Like okay, like those guys should beat those teams.
They should. I think something this shows to me is there is the standard in general in tier 1 teams has been raised. Like Italy are much more consistent. Argentina can beat anyone. Australia and Wales are the exceptions. We've gotten worse. We look shit. But, you know, Ireland, France, and England can compete with the Southern Hemisphere teams on their day, of course, and not just on their day, like generally, all the time, right? So the standard of tier 1 teams has gone up, but there's still a line. And once you go to that line, the quality drops off a fucking cliff. And it's around Fiji, Japan, Georgia. It's around there. You know what I mean? Like, after that, those games aren't competitive. And I want them to be. And Fiji have shown signs. Like, in the World Cup, they had...
I'm sorry. In the World Cup, Fiji now will be a force to reckon with.
Yep. Yeah.
Every single time now, going forward, with what they have in place now.
Yeah.
They got the professional team.
Yeah.
They got tons of players playing in top quality.
Yeah.
Like, so when it comes to World Cup time, like the money's there. There's
the preparation time is there.
Way more preparation, so they can come up with a game plan. Systems can be in place, right? So when it comes to that World Cup, they're fine.
Yeah,
they could. I could put them. They'll upset anyone.
Yeah,
and they have.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
So I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
Just that when it comes to these kind of like fixtures, these one-off fixtures and stuff, it's not for that.
It doesn't show us a lot. The interest I had in this game was, Wales are shit right now, so are we going to lose to Fiji? It's possible. So the way I was watching this game was like, how good are Fiji right now? And I think they'll get better in the autumn series.
They will.
Because they're going to get more players in, right? Yeah. And they'll have more time together. And they'll have learned a lot of stuff from that game. No doubt they'll get better. And Wales are objectively worse than Scotland right now. So it'll be a closer game. But it did make me go, you know, as much as I want to beat Fiji, I always want Wales to win. I want a fun, exciting game to watch, right? And I'm thinking, fucking hell, we're just going to smash them. We need that for our confidence. We badly need a win against fucking anyone right now. But I don't want to smash Fiji by 50 points. I don't think we will. But it was a bit sad because I want Fiji to be consistently good.
Come out of their fucking...
Oh, I know. They'll still probably beat us now.
They're going to come out of their shell when they play against Wales.
Yeah. And we're just going to crumble.
Because they want that revenge.
Of course they do. Yeah, of course they do. Well, obviously they're going to get better. But I do think Scotland are showing something which they needed to show, which is you need to be ruthless all the time, right? Historically, Scotland have kind of matched their opposition. Like, they could go toe-to-toe with New Zealand, but then all of a sudden they'd have a shocker against someone like Italy. They need to be ruthless every single game. Yeah. That's what they did, and they're very good at it. So, you know, that's a sign of improvement in a way. You know?
And also, like I said yesterday when we were watching the game, like, Scotland's first 15 can toe-to-toe with anyone in the world.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, once you get to the bench, it's not quite as good.
Once you start subbing off, that's when the quality drops significantly.
Yeah,
so, like, that's the problem with them. Like, they're just never going to be, in my eyes, Scotland's never going to be, like, just... Nothing big is ever going to come out of Scotland.
Not with two professional teams.
Not with two professional teams. And just the lack of depth.
Yeah.
They just can't do it. The first 15, though, if they can like manage to be the most fit team ever and play all of them for like 80 minutes and then maintain that consistency, sure.
Yeah.
But that's not rugby. That's not reality. Yeah. That's not real.
I'm gonna say it. That's the best backline in Northern Hemisphere right now, I think. Like,
it looks like it.
Maybe Ali Price isn't my favorite 9, but he's not bad. But then after that, it's all fucking
I would say
the best guys.
The best backline in Northern Hemisphere is probably France, but
depends if Ntamack is fit. If you had Dupont in the Scottish team, then it's comfortably the best backline. It is though, isn't it? Like, I'm not lying. Like, Blair Kinghorn, Finn Russell, Tui Pilotu, Hugh Jones, Duhan van der Merwe. Like, that's insane.
They didn't even have Kinghorn there.
No, exactly. Like,
you're still locked away in France for another week.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the game of games yesterday.
Yeah, it was a good game.
It was a great game.
Actually, yeah, it was a good game.
England, New Zealand.
I always have a problem watching England I can't support them. There's a mental block. As much as I know these players and as much as they've gone away from the baddies of the past, I like them being baddies actually, but they're not as baddie-ish anymore. Like, it's hard for me to cheer for them for whatever reason, right? Call it xenophobic Welsh bias, whatever you want. It's hard. But there were times in that game where I was like, fucking smash him, get him, go get him. And they were, Tell me what you think.
They fucking, man, this is the third game in this year.
Yeah.
They've lost to New Zealand where they should have won.
Yeah.
I think the first test match they had with New Zealand,
Yeah.
the ref really fucked them.
Yeah, it did.
There were some bad calls.
Yeah, there were
and
some
they got
game-changing calls.
There were some game-changing calls, and they really got fucked.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
The second test match, they were just crushing the All Blacks, and then they got completely fucking gassed.
Yeah, lost their composure at the end.
They lost their composure, completely fell apart.
Yeah,
New Zealand was way more well prepared.
Yeah,
and beat them.
Yeah,
I was like, you guys had that game, and then you just fucking gassed out.
Totally.
Let New Zealand back in the game. New Zealand's gonna get back in any game you let them in.
Yeah.
You give them an inch, they're gonna take a mile. We've seen it throughout all of history with them.
Yeah.
And then this game, they got outcoached, in my eyes.
Yeah, tell me about that. I've got some thoughts, but tell me about that.
But I think Sportswick just made some wrong personnel changes.
Yeah.
He made some wrong calls. He believes in Dombrandt for some reason.
Yeah.
Dombrandt is not the guy.
But we were talking about that. Who's the alternative?
That's true. But I would have had Sam Underhill in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I just would have had, if you're going to have to choose between the two, you can't really think of anyone else, but Sam Underhill can do Dombrandt's job and better.
I think Dombrandt is a better carrier and he's bigger, but Sam Underhill doesn't miss tackles. And he's good he's better at the breakdown.
He's better at the breakdown.
Yeah.
I think Sam Underhill carries hard.
He does.
Dombrandt's good. He's good at club level.
Yeah.
Every time he plays, he disappears. There's a few players in England that disappear for me.
Yeah.
Like Ollie Lawrence, I forget he's on the field. Like he is like a spirit, like a phantom out in the field. I was like, oh shit, yeah, Ollie Lawrence. And he had a pretty decent game.
Yeah. It wasn't
he's
terrible.
Just not England's missing that Manitoulagi, that power through.
Yeah,
they're missing that hard.
They're missing, like the get over the gain line, like kind of just a bit of speed and power and pace in the middle of the field rather than on the wing.
And Ollie Lawrence just doesn't bring that.
Except in Ireland in the Six Nations where he had an absolute blinder, right? Like he played the fucking. He reminds me a bit of Jacob Stockdale. Like once in a blue moon, he'll be the best fucking player of rugby ever, and then next week he'll just be kind of anonymous,
And it's just like England, just to watch that game, it must be so frustrating. Like it got.
Yeah.
I thought, was it Ben Spencer? And oh my God,
the second 9. Harry Randall?
No, Ben Spencer, and who was playing 10?
Marcus Smith.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. I'm having a stroke.
Yeah.
These guys are playing great.
Yeah.
And then he pulls them off of Randall and Ford. Ford hasn't played in a month.
Yeah.
And you need someone to to push the pace.
Yeah.
He looked off.
Yeah.
It was just bad coaching decision.
Outcoached is your big takeaway.
Outcoached.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, I agree. I think Borthwick has to take some of the blame for not, it's such a cliche, the coach takes all the responsibility, but we're saying specifically the decision, the substitutions he made negatively affected the game, that England were winning, actually, right? So I agree with that.
Are we taking also, sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Scott Robertson is, in my eyes, taking New Zealand back to the days where they just get trashed the whole game.
Yeah.
And then they just win the game.
Okay, so
people are like, there's a lot of comments online like, oh, this is the worst New Zealand side. They don't look like the same. I'm like, and I'm thinking about it. I'm watching this game yesterday, and I'm like, this is the exact New Zealand I've been watching for a long time. They just get hammered. They score a try, they score a try, and they're getting hammered. There's still 2 tries up. You're like,
yeah,
and then they win the game.
I think the way they scored their first 2 tries.
This is the way they score.
How they score every try. It's like against the run of play.
Yeah.
Just quick, like the quickest hands you've ever seen. Silky offloads, and the winger, whether it was Caleb Clark or Talea or someone like Will Jordan, the fucking speed on him, like pure pace, right? Which is crazy because you don't coach that. Like New Zealand are good at everything in rugby, but they also seem to have the fastest players, right? And it's like they don't have they have an advantage on the skill sets of rugby because they play it more from a young age, but they don't have a premium on speed, and yet they seem to, right? They're just the pace on the wingers and their back three as much as anyone.
I don't think they're faster. I just think they just.
Oh, I do.
the gaps that they're picking.
Yeah. Gives them that half step extra, maybe. Yeah, that might be a good point. Like they're just better at seeing the space.
Like that's Satiti where he like does that. Satiti like offloads to Talea.
Yeah.
Like that.
That was filthy.
That pass came out of nowhere.
It did,
just
didn't it?
Popped out like magic.
And he was in the right place to take the ball, and he put on the gas at the right time. So maybe it's not pure speed. Yeah.
He sucks in like Satiti sucks in Furbank and Freeman.
Yeah.
Right. They're both on him.
Yeah.
And he just pops that ball out to Talea. Talea's got no one. You had
Ellis Gens chasing him, but you're going to beat a prop, aren't you?
Yeah, and I feel like that try. I feel like the two Talea tries are. I feel like those two tries, like because he got Freeman got sucked into Satiti, and then gave that space to Talea, and then the second try he had, George Ford just misses that tackle. He just falls off of him.
Yeah.
I feel like next week against Ireland, that stuff's not going to happen.
I feel
like those wingers, like they're
not going to have that much space, and they're not going to have that much that not sloppy, but
just bad reading of the game. I guess.
Yeah. The Ireland are just more organized, aren't they? Simple
they're
as
more
that.
organized. Maybe you could see if they manage to play Jacob Stockdale, I'd probably be worried about that because he does
he goes missing.
And he gets sucked in.
He's a confidence player, whereas James Lowe is a very solid defensive winger, isn't he?
And he used to be judged for that.
Yeah, he did.
That used to be a big thing that he was judged about.
I don't know a winger who in their earlier career isn't judged for their defense, like it was same with George North, but if they improve, they're a full package winger.
Yeah, I feel like for Freeman, like that was just inexperience.
Yeah.
That first Talea try where he just basically got past him because he got sucked in.
Yeah.
Like that's just experience.
Yeah.
So, it's good for him kind of. Like he's going to learn from that.
Yeah, like having like Ben Spencer and Freeman, there was some inexperience in that team where they didn't need to be necessarily. I'll tell you what I think though, right? Because we talked about this yesterday and we said England felt you always sort of felt New Zealand were going to win because that's just what they do. But it felt like England were like kind of like dominating or playing better rugby. But I was thinking about it again. They kind of got mangled in the scrum and the line out, and that's rugby. You don't win your set piece. You don't win rugby games, right?
I thought the line out was fine. I thought they actually kind of fucked around with. I thought both teams were kind of fucking around with each other's line out.
They were, but there were some lineouts in New Zealand's 22, which they really should have been more dominant in or won. The scrum was obviously, when they replaced their props, you noticed a drop-off. And, okay, so the key passage of play for me here, right? England stay in the fight. New Zealand's defense is kind of sloppy. They keep kicking points. Then they get an intercept try off a back of a good defensive shift. Faye Waboso, English legend, scores it, right?
You beat me to it.
Yeah, exactly. Cut you off, you little shit. And then England's attack looks blunt, right? But their defense still looks good. It still looks good even after Felix Jones is gone. And they get a try basically off good defensive pressure, gets them in the lead, and then they're like 8 points ahead. And then you go to the final passage of play. New Zealand are within 2 points, and then they take the lead. Then this is like the critical thing. They take the lead through a bit of George Ford's sloppy defending on the wing, right? Maybe he shouldn't have been there, but he missed the tackle. Talea uses his strength, goes over. And then a South Africa or a New Zealand win the game normally in those situations because they're composed. And England had 3 distinct opportunities now. And this is what annoys the fuck out of me about England, right? They have a penalty. George Ford hits the post. He normally doesn't. It's not the easiest kick, but I'd expect him to make those at club level. And he's made those internationally several times. The ball bounces off the post. New Zealander gets it. He knocks it on. And then England players go mental, like they've won the game. They're still behind. They're screaming, yes, he's fucking knocked it on. Bearing in mind, they could have already won the game at this point had that kick gone through. I'm not blaming George Ford. It's just the way it is. They go psycho. And immediately I'm thinking, I've seen this game a million times before. They'll go into that scrum. They've burned all their energy screaming that they've won the scrum and they'll lose the scrum. What happened? They lost the fucking scrum. They get pushed off the ball nearly. Harry Randall barely gets it out. Mm-hmm. And then it's a really sloppy few forward plays because they've lost their composure. Yeah. And then George Ford is getting into the pocket. Harry Randall throws them his absolute wobbly hospital pass to drop goal. call it, and he misses. So they've had 3 opportunities to win the game in New Zealand's 22. A penalty kick, a scrum, and a drop goal. Granted, a drop goal is not a fucking easy thing to do. Granted, a kick from that distance is not an easy thing to do, but you've got 3 distinct opportunities to win that game, and they blow it, you know? And I'm not blaming George Ford, although he didn't have the best game, and Mark Smith was playing a lot better. That English team...
He looked undercooked.
He did look undercooked, and that's a Borthwick problem, right? He should have fucking known that. But England do this all the fucking time. They do not have the composure, and they celebrate the wrong fucking things. I've seen it a million times. The other team will make a mistake, and they'll be screaming... And I'm thinking, you've got fucking 30 seconds to win the game with an opportunity. Focus. Stop screaming like you've won the thing. You haven't fucking won anything, you know? Just don't have the composure, you know? And New Zealand and South Africa do have the composure, you know? They'd won that.
A few other things, too, just random points. Can't blame George Ford for this.
No, I'm trying not to.
Yeah, can't blame George Ford. He did have a bad, outing there.
Yeah.
But he was undercooked. He shouldn't have been in there.
Yeah.
Borthwick should have put
Finn Smith in there. Yeah. Or just kept Marcus Smith on the whole game.
Or kept Marcus Smith on.
Yeah.
Harry Randall coming off of Ben Spencer. I thought Ben Spencer was having a really good game.
Yeah. Nothing incredible,
Harry
but
Randall,
not bad, right?
He did fine. I just wouldn't have disrupted that tandem that he had going with Marcus Smith and Spencer. I was like, why disrupt it? Just let it go. Let it be. Just let it be.
Yeah.
On the All Black side, when Damian McKenzie came on, this guy gets shit on a lot.
Yeah, he does. By us sometimes.
Yeah, when he came on, he fucking was lighting shit up right away.
He was, because they score that try in the corner to take it within 2 points. Damian McKenzie's kick rate isn't outstanding. It's pretty good.
I was full on expecting him to miss that.
Me too.
Kick.
We said that, didn't we? We said that 100%. We were like, he probably misses
this kick for sure.
Does he fucking nail it, though?
No, he nails it.
That's the composure I'm talking about.
It's like he heard me.
Yeah,
he's like, fuck you, Steve.
You know when he's doing his creepy grin? He was looking right into your eyes going, watch this, you cunt.
Yeah.
And he fucking nailed it, you know?
Yeah, he did.
And so that's the difference for me is Damian McKenzie I don't like him as a 10 for the All Blacks because he hasn't got the orchestration that someone like Bowden Barrett or I think Richie Mwanga has. But when he came on, he did exactly what he needed to do. He was composed. He was had good structure. He knew when to attack. He knew when to spot the gaps. He didn't do anything wrong, you know?
I thought this was a good game for Scott Robertson. His team, it just showed how resilient the All Blacks are.
Yes.
They just know how to step up.
Yeah,
they know. It's not over till it's over with them.
No.
It's not. There could be seconds on that clock.
Yeah.
And they could be down by 2 tries. It's still
not a big deal.
As long as until that ref blows that whistle, there's a million minutes left.
Yeah, 100%.
Basically.
Yeah.
Until that ref blows his whistle and ends the game.
Yeah.
There's endless time. There's years on the clock for them.
Yeah, definitely.
And how they won was how I've watched New Zealand win over and over and over again throughout the years.
Yeah, just stay in the fight. Don't make mistakes, right?
Yeah. And they England makes teams like England, these northern hemisphere teams in general.
Yeah,
their lack of attack.
Yeah, it's a worry, isn't it?
It makes it because you notice how All Blacks don't do a rush defense.
No,
because what these teams are throwing at them is so predictable.
Yeah.
They just fucking defend because they know they can score tries.
Yeah.
They know. But there's such a lack of threat coming at them.
Yeah.
They don't need to waste energy.
No. They just man mark,
right?
don't they?
Because
you just stick on your guy.
And it's such an advantage. When you think about it, it's such an advantage for the All Blacks because they're so the attack that's coming at them is so predictable. It's so plain. They're just fucking don't waste any time rushing at this team.
Yeah, our chance will come.
Our chance will come.
And it does.
We can make this happen.
Yeah.
Just fucking tackle them.
Yeah.
Tackle them all day. And they don't do anything special. They're not rushing up the line. They're not wasting all this energy.
Yeah.
So when you play the All Blacks, these teams have to do this.
Yeah.
They have to rush at the All Blacks. They have to take away that space.
Yeah.
Because if they give them anything,
they're creative.
They'll fucking score. They'll get through.
Yeah.
Right. So the other teams are already at a energy efficiency disadvantage.
Yeah. And their attack is shit.
Because first of all, they have to work way harder to get to score points.
Yeah.
And they have to make sure they're rushing up the line to take that space away from the All Blacks because they'll score tries. So like the All Blacks are already at an advantage walking onto the field because the other team is going to tire out. Yeah. Right? It's almost like they're rope-a-doping them, just letting the other boxer just punch the shit at them. Yeah. And then when he gets tired, they knock him out. Yeah. Right?
That's how it feels. Yeah, that's a good analogy.
That's exactly what like All Blacks have to do. They're like, don't worry about fucking rushing up the field. Don't worry about this rush defense. Fuck the rush defense.
Stay in the fight.
Like, what are you rushing for? These guys are just like throwing the ball. They're just crashing, and throwing some stupid passes out to the wing. Yeah.
And we can deal with that all day.
There's nothing spectacular. There's nothing threatening going on where we have to be like super alert for. Just make sure you're supposed to be. And make the tackle. Yeah. And then that's it. We don't have to they're not wasting any energy. No. And all these Northern Hemisphere teams with the rush defense, they have to do this. They have to. You have to. You cannot play the same way because New Zealand will open you up. They'll carve you up.
They will. And that when England beat New Zealand in the World Cup semi-final 2019, right? They kind of laid a blueprint for how you have to play against the All Blacks, and it was a lot of energy, get up in their face very quickly, just put so much pressure on them physically that they don't have the space or the time to do what they do, right?
100%.
But you have to maintain this insane energy and rush defense
and the All Blacks
for the whole fucking game.
And the All Blacks don't have to.
No, because you've already exhausted yourself within 15 minutes, shutting them down, forcing mistakes, right? And you do force those mistakes, right? But it's exhausting.
They are the kings of rope-a-dope rugby.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They are. They just they just let you fucking swing out and gas out, and then they got like the last England game that they played, this exact thing happened.
Yeah, it did.
Right?
Yeah, they just gassed, didn't they?
Yeah, because England just blew their whole load, the whole game all over them, and they're just trashing the All Blacks. Yeah. Right? And then all of a sudden they were tired. Yeah. Everyone looked big. Yeah. Maro Toje looked off his feet. Like he should have been pulled at one point. Like this guy's fucking tired of shit. Yeah. And the All Blacks are just like, we got energy for days. This.
Yeah, we can do this all day because we haven't been defending like lunatics.
Because I know there's been talks about like, if New Zealand like picked up rush defense, blitz defense, whatever it's called, there's a million names for it. They'd be unstoppable, but they don't need it. No. They don't need to waste that energy. And I bet you any of the coaches think about that too. Like, don't waste your energy. Yeah. What they're throwing at us is nothing.
No, they're going to go through 4 or 5 phases, get stuck, do a crossfield kick, or try and get it to the wing really quickly and make a mistake. Yeah.
Because as soon as, like, when you see New Zealand get the ball, every time they don't have the ball very much in games.
No, they don't need it.
But when they do, they're making yards. Yeah. They're making meters. You know, they're just fucking... They're working down that field. That ball's going all over the fucking place. It's just...
That's what I thought as well. Even when they were in their own half, around the halfway line, when New Zealand had the ball, their forward carry... Like, people forget, like, their forwards are fucking awesome, right? Their forwards are all making... They made about 20 meters. Remember, you commented, it was like, look at how much fucking space they've got. Just because, like, their carries are efficient, well supported, the ball comes out quickly to the next guy, knows where to hit and how to do it. Like, and like, the thing is, we were talking about the back row for England, right? And, like, you've got Don Brandt, who maybe carries hard and is faster, but maybe Sam Underhill is slower, but he's better at the breakdown. And that's the key difference. Like, you have these guys who fit different molds in a lot of Northern Hemisphere teams. In New Zealand, every single player has a baseline ability of what they're good at. Every single forward is fast, can carry, can jackal. Like, their baseline, they don't have these...
They also can pass.
Yeah, they don't need to have these debates about this guy's better at this than this guy. Like, every single one of them, backs and forwards, is fucking good at rugby. Right?
You can almost put a prop in 10.
You could. You totally could, right? Because, like, someone like Cody Taylor, you'll see him, like, bombing down the wing or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, Sam Kane, like, bombing down the fucking white channels. Like, they can do it. They're all fast. They're all fucking good at rugby. Mm-hmm. So the point always stands, like, they're always going to be talented. But I think what we're making out here is, like, this was a close game. And on one hand, I think, they're not far off each other. On another hand, I do think, like, England's attack was blunt,
I thought that Marcus Smith was... he was flaring it up a bit.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
and he was making them guess. He is, but I feel like he's in a structure that's not complementing his style.
Totally. I was going to talk about that as well, because the thing with Mark Smith, and you see this at the amateur level even, if you've got a guy, any player on the field who makes breaks often and you want that to happen, unless the other guys around him anticipate that and can keep up with him, he's isolating himself, he's going to get turned over, right? And Mark Smith as a 10 is exciting, and he is the full package now. He doesn't have deficiencies. He made some fucking monstrous tackles, but if you don't have the kind of players who can run and keep up with him and support him, it's wasted effort, right? And that's why when people talk about someone like Zach Mercer in the England back row, who is fast and pushes through holes, he's going to isolate himself, right? And that's probably why he doesn't get picked. He doesn't fit the style of rugby England want to play, which is boring and forward heavy sometimes.
Yeah, Borthwick wants his orchestrating 10.
He wants Leicester, right? He wants Leicester.
He wants his likes his old school, but like he is Marcus Smith's the future.
He is the future, yeah. And he's like, I can't find a flaw in his game right now.
Boso is the future.
He is. He's really good.
This guy was fucking incredible.
He was. He's so strong as well as fast, isn't he? You know, yeah.
Like without him on the team, holy fuck! Like he's great.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
So glad.
Can we not talk about him?
England developed him.
Can we not talk about him, please?
You know, he was born and bred. What a homemade talent. That's what I gotta say for England.
Right. You made a fucking point.
Let's go on to next week's fixtures because next week's gonna be fucking lit.
Yeah, it is gonna be very exciting.
It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. Ireland, New Zealand on Friday.
At 1 o'clock in the afternoon for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you think's gonna win this game?
I think Ireland will win this game.
A lot of people are saying Ireland going to win this game.
Yeah.
I'm not confident at all.
I mean, that just shows how much of a true Ireland fan you are.
I feel
because no Ireland fan I've spoken to believes they're going to win this game.
Well, fuck you.
I don't know if it's a false humility thing. Because like, why do you not think you're going to win this game?
There's some kind of feeling. I just feel like there's like, I just have a feeling.
I mean, yeah, of course, if I support my team, there's doubt in my mind when playing quality opposition.
I feel like no. Look, this is the first game in a long time.
Yeah.
Where I felt Ireland were not going to win when they went to New Zealand.
Yeah.
I was confident they were going to win New Zealand.
Okay.
I thought they were going to win every game. They won like 2 out of 3.
Mm-hmm.
At the World Cup.
Yeah.
Quarterfinal, I was for sure they were going to win.
Yeah, you were actually. You were confident.
Any doubt in my mind they were going to win.
Yeah.
When they went to South Africa, I thought they were going to win both games. They only won one. So this is the first time there's just something I feel like there's like I feel like this team, this core they have, has kind of run its course, and there's going to be a period now where they're going to have to like start. I feel like they're going to be Ireland are merging into kind of like a little mini rebuilding.
Yeah, they feel middle-aged all of a sudden, don't they?
Yes, they do. They feel like a little bit overused. They're a little bit overcooked.
I feel that as well because, the front row is starting to show its age.
Yes.
Some of the forwards are like someone like Marnie. He's on the verge of retirement, I think. And Ty Byrne, when played Stormers the other day, first time ever, I've seen him have not the best game ever.
Yeah.
You know?
I just feel like there's some players that you got a bunch of young talent coming through.
Yeah, and they're good. Right?
And you got a mix of older guys, but that older generation I feel like has run its course.
I agree, actually.
And they're still heavily relying on them.
Yeah.
So it's just that mixture. I think Ireland's coming at a crossroads where we're not like where
we're over the honeymoon golden era a little bit, aren't we?
Yes, I feel like we're not over the hill yet.
No, not at all.
It's just that Ireland is. I keep mentioning we like I'm Irish, but I feel like Ireland is creeping up.
Yeah.
Is creeping up on that. And I think New Zealand might expose that a little bit because they're young, they're hungry.
Yeah.
I think I'm seeing Scott Robertson. People may be saying that some things, but I'm thinking that this team is looking on the up. I'm putting these points together. Like when I'm looking at this team and I'm like trashing the All Blacks, but when I'm really looking and when I'm looking at this, like when you're looking at the stats, when you're putting it on pen and paper, like this is way better than what we're looking at. This is not like this. There's improvement going on here.
You mean New Zealand?
New Zealand, yeah.
Like
there's some
because we kind of shit on them in the rugby championship a bit.
Yeah,
we did
because they were struggling. Because I think Scott.
We were saying their bench was weak.
Yep.
We were saying they lacked the composure and the X factor they've historically had, and I don't think they showed their full potential against England either.
It's. I'm not saying Ireland are not going to win this game.
Yeah,
because they could. And they could very well win this game, and a lot of people in the world think they are. I think New Zealand might edge this one out.
If I was going to statistically say, I would say Ireland win this game 7 out of 10 times. So if I was betting odds sort of guy, which I'm not, I'd say 7 out of 10 times. Just Ireland feel more settled. They've beaten the world champions very recently. New Zealand haven't. So I'm
going to say New Zealand win this by like 3 points.
Yeah, I think it'd be close. Anyway, it'd be a good fucking game.
Next game, we got Hong Kong versus Brazil.
Oh, the big one.
The big one of the weekend.
Asia versus South America, the one everyone's excited for. Yeah.
There's a lot of internationals. You got Canada. Canada's playing Chile.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be good. Chile's going to fucking trash them.
Chile are good.
Yeah, Chile's going to try to... Spain, Uruguay.
Yeah.
Uruguay.
Probably Uruguay, yeah. Or Spain are coming up. They're coming up.
Kenya, Uganda. I don't even know.
Kenya are good.
Ukraine, Slovakia.
Yeah.
How's Ukraine putting together a team?
They've been playing fixtures for the whole time the war's been going on. Yeah, good for them.
Hopefully they get a win.
Yeah, I hope so. They need a
pick me up.
Yeah.
England, Australia. England should win this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see them losing that.
I keep thinking that Australia is gonna just come out of the woodwork one game.
I mean, they nearly did against New Zealand in the Rugby Championship.
Yeah,
you know?
they did.
Yeah, and they beat Argentina pretty handily in one of those fixtures.
So I feel like Australia is playing, but they still got a lot of talent.
Here's the thing about Australia as well. They kind of hate England the same way Wales hate them. Like, they get out of, and the same way Scotland, they get out of bed for England. They're a bit of a bogey team for England historically. England will win this, but I do think Australia will show something. They'll show something, you know?
So that's what I'm thinking. I'm going to say England by 10 or 5.
England by 5. Yeah.
Portugal plays USA. Portugal's going to beat USA.
I think so. It's weird to see, isn't it? All these kind of, Portugal, Chile, Uruguay, these guys would all beat Canada and the USA on the day at the minute, wouldn't they?
Italy, Argentina. Now I heard
this is the game I'm. But
I heard Italy has a lot of injuries.
They do have a lot of injuries, sadly.
So it's not going to be the full strength team going out there.
It's not, which is sad because if I really would love to see a full strength Argentina versus a full strength Italy. I think Argentina win this game, but I'm so excited to see the very, very slight increase of Italy's quality.
Hands down, Argentina's going to fucking trash.
You think
Italy.
Trash them? Do you?
Yeah, Argentina's going to trash Italy. It's going to be 20-9 or something like that.
Okay, so I was looking at the results from the Six Nations again the other day. Italy played very close games in all of the fixtures. They drew one, they won one. So they're not the Italy of a few years ago. They're better.
Oh, 100%.
But Argentina are even more better, aren't they?
Argentina are great.
They're betterer.
And they're betterer.
Yeah.
And Italy's got a bunch of injuries, especially that dream center pairing they had that basically carried their team.
Yeah.
Lina's injured.
Yeah.
So I'm not too enthusiastic. They need their best of the best.
They're like Scotland, aren't they? If they don't have their first 15, it's hard to see top quality.
Argentina by a beating. France is playing Japan on Saturday. France is going to trash Japan.
Let the hate continue to fall on Eddie Jones, I think.
Yeah. Eddie Jones is going to have a rough tour.
He is.
Yeah. Is this going to be more and more grimacing? Is that eye? His two eyes are going to be all fucked up. He's going to be like,
yeah, that wasn't rugby, mate.
Yeah. Sunday, Wales versus Fiji.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I have no idea how to feel about this.
You want to win so bad.
Oh, we just need a win. We just need a win.
Wales need a win here.
Fucking right they do. Yeah.
They need to win this game.
I think if they don't win, this is the start of the end for Gatland if they don't win this game. It's the beginning of the end. Because he's locked into a contract now, which they'd have to buy him out of. But at some point, you have to go.
How long is he contracted to? The next
World Cup, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's not going anywhere.
That was just talk of the WRU and how shit they are. As good as Gatland, I love Gatland. We built a fucking gate to him. As a country, a rugby nation, we owe him so much, right? But why did you lock this guy into a contract for several years? It's just bad business, isn't it? It's bad business to pay a guy $1 million potentially out because he's not cutting it, right? It's just bad business. Anyway, so if we lose this, and I think there's a chance we could, right? We haven't proven anything with our young squad yet. Six Nations, everyone's like, oh, he's showing green shoots, went to Australia, the green shoots died. There's some talent in that squad, but we don't look cohesive, and there's so many youngsters, and we don't have the depth of talent, not just squad, talent that we've historically had. Fiji, man for man, are incredible rugby players. If they can get some discipline. You got some
senior guys coming back in this one.
Yeah.
Having Anscombe at 10.
Anscombe I'm excited for. And Thomas Williams, to be fair, is the best 9. Actually, he's the best 9 in the Northern Hemisphere right now. I'm going to say it.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm going to say it. Yeah, Thomas Williams is fucking incredible. I wouldn't be surprised if it's him and Jameson Gibson Park on the Lions tour.
You got David Jenkins. He's injured.
He's having surgeries, yeah, so he's
out.
What
about...
So Dewi Lake and Jack Morgan I'm really excited for.
Yeah, Jack Morgan's finally healthy.
Yeah, and he's playing well. He's playing very really well for the Ospreys.
Who's the 8 for...
Wainwright, I think, is back. I think
he was injured.
He was injured. I think he might be back for this game. But we're never going to have problems in the back row in Wales. We've always got ridiculous talent in the back row, so I'm not worried about that. And you've got fucking Turnover Tommy to come over as well. Do you know what I mean? There's loads of fucking back rowers.
Yeah.
I think the problem is 10. you could have Gareth Anscombe starting. Yeah, he's very good. But after that, we fall off a cliff. Like Sam Costello, Johan Lloyd at Scarlet, Callum Sheedy, none of these guys who are supposed to be the future have hit their potential or even like enough to show that they can cut it, you know? So
what do you guys predict here?
Do you know what? I'm going to say we win, but I think it's going to be a really boring, sluggy game where maybe Fiji get a red card and we get lucky. You know, it'll be Grand Slam.
I'm going to say
Jam
Fiji
Slam
by
vibes.
18.
Thanks, Steve. You're the guy who's always saying you should be positive, and you take a big dump on me by saying that. Just kill my budding confidence. No, I think we'll win, but I think it'll be close.
Are you okay? Weren't we talking earlier about sensitivity and
yeah, no, you're not. I'm
understanding
not
other
to you
people's
if they win now. Fiji win. Yeah.
Okay, Scotland, South Africa.
Ooh, that'll be a good game.
That's the last game
That'll be a good
of the
game.
weekend. That's going to be a really juicy game.
I think Scotland go up by about 15 points. Like they just absolutely blitz them with their attack, you know? And then they just slowly fall apart as injuries and tiredness creep in, and South Africa just turn the physical screw and win by about 5 points in the end.
That's exactly how this game's going to go.
Yeah.
That's all. Scotland's going to play hard.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tight game for 50 or 60 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're going to start seeing the decline.
Yeah.
Right?
Where the greatest bench in the world comes on.
Yeah, the greatest bench in the world versus not the greatest bench in the world.
Yeah, not even close to the greatest
bench. Not even close.
Yeah.
So you're going to see exactly what's going to happen in this game. This game is it's almost the most predictable game.
We may see the first ever 8-0 split on a bench.
Yeah. So I would... that would be fucking great.
That'd be so rassy as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just all forwards.
Just coming on.
Quagga Smith at 9.
Yeah, I want to. That's exactly how this game's going to go. It's going to be a very close game. Scotland's going to make you believe.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the bench, once the bench starts coming into when the benches start coming into the game, it's going to change drastically.
It is.
And then they're going to lose. Scotland will lose control of this game. So I'm going to say South Africa by like 10 points.
Yeah, I think 5 to 10. I think Andy Christie is injured at the minute, and I love this guy for Scotland, right? I think he's the guy who kind of added a bit of physicality and bulk to their back row. Because like guys like, Hamish Watson, he's getting on a bit now, right? Like they just need a bit more bulk in their back row. And there's a couple of guys who, if they were there, I think Scotland had a better chance. But yeah, they still lose this game, just about. And, I love writing off Scottish teams. I just can't help it. Glasgow.
I'm not saying they're the worst team. They don't have the number of players.
No, they're an incredible team.
Yeah,
their first 15 is like we said, they can beat anyone.
Just the sheer lack of numbers.
Yeah, and this is the future of the game now, isn't it? We're seeing forward heavy splits, and we're seeing the bench being really meaningful. That's another point I wanted to make about England really quickly as well. Is like they don't know how to use impact players, right? And if Scotland did have the impact players, they would know how to use them. Mm-hmm. England, it's like. There's so many teams where there's guys who only are impact players. Like I look at Wales, like Elliot Dee had his first something like 50 caps for Wales as a bench option. Same with Justin Tipuric, first 60 caps. He was a bench option. We know how to use impact players. England don't. Scotland, I think, probably could do that. They just don't have the guys to do it.
No.
Right, in the same way.
That's it. It's just nothing towards Scotland. Just
not at all.
Yeah, just a lack of you just have a lack of players.
That's right. Yeah, lack of depth.
It.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's holding them back.
Yeah.
And then that would be the weekend.
Nice. Good weekend. Do you want to talk about... No, we're good?
Oh, you want to talk about something else?
I was going to talk about Welsh women's rugby, but I'm sad now, so I don't really want to. We'll talk about it next week.
We'll talk about it next week?
How shit the WRU are, like we need reminding.
Oh, yes.
Fuck, don't matter. Don't want to talk about it.
Okay. Well, friends...
Next week.
We'll talk about something happy.
Good.
It'll be a happier podcast. Well, friends, like and share the podcast.
Yes, please.
Put it on your Facebook feeds.
Whilst you're having a breakup.
We want the most exposure ever, so post us on Facebook.
When you type, she's turned the Waynes against us, then post the link to our pod underneath.
Yeah. And thanks. Have a good one, folks.